Back again. Once again, good morning and welcome to another Saturday edition of Breakfast Extra, where we serve our news with a healthy side of perspective and occasionally truth you weren't quite ready for, like today's perhaps. Now today we begin with a historic lesson because some stories are best understood when you know what fermented them, right? So let's start in the Democratic Republic of Congo, a country so rich it has diamonds in the dirt and poverty in the people. See, in the 1960s, the Congo was finding its feet after independence until America showed up. But the U.S. didn't just visit the Congo, it intervened, it interfered, it installed. They watched a young elected Prime Minister, Patrice Lumumba, dream out loud about a sovereign Africa. And promptly, they decided, no, this guy is dangerous, not to the Congo, but to their uranium supply. That uranium, sourced from Shinkolombwe, helped power the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and, if I'm not mistaken, Nagasaki. The Congo inadvertently, quite literally, lit up the atomic age, and the U.S. was never going to leave that sort of resource in the hands of someone that dreams of a truly independent Africa. Oh no. So they backed Mobutu Sese Seko, and the Congo was plunged into decades of looting disguised as leadership, and yet the minerals kept on flowing. But not to Congolese industries, but to foreign ones, especially those that make your electronics, your computers, and American defense systems. Now, it wasn't instability by accident, it was actually instability by design, because the chaos kept prices low, and the goal was never to fix the Congo. Now, let's slide east to Sudan, where oil became the next ticket. The Darfur crisis, while catastrophic, became a convenient moral cover. Humanitarian concerns wrapped around strategic calculation. U.S. diplomats knew that if China kept growing its stakes in Sudan's oil, Washington would lose not just a client state, but a corridor. So they inserted themselves, once again, into peace processes, not just to stop the war, but to steer profit. What they wanted was not peace for Sudan, but peace on their terms. The kind that lets oil companies unpack their bags, drill tankers and everything while the ink is still drying on the ceasefire agreement. See, it's an old formula. Come in as the firefighter and leave as the landlord. Now, let's return to more recent times. Now, just weeks ago, 5 African presidents took a trip to pay homage in the United States to President Trump. Officially, it was diplomacy, but unofficially, it kind of looked like Continental speed dating with Mr. Firefox. They came with offers, oil blocks, military cooperation, data sharing, even mining partnerships. Again, they brought business card. And Trump, well, he brought the cameras. And while the headlines read historic engagement, what really happened was Africa presenting itself once again as a willing subcontractor to its own resources. It was short of saying they offered their rare ends while hoping, oh no, don't worry, it's only going to hurt just this one time. But not Nigeria, thank goodness, because Nigeria was not in that room. In fact, Nigeria did the unthinkable. When previously asked by the U.S. to accept deported Venezuelan nationals, Nigeria declined, politely, firmly, but clearly. And that, my dear brothers and sisters, is when the music stopped. Because only weeks later, the U.S. issued a broad travel advisory against Nigeria, warning its citizens to reconsider travel due to, amongst other things, poor health care and insecurity. Now, I don't know about you, but this sounds like a sort of warning that quietly whispers to investors, don't go there, don't touch it, it's not safe, it's too risky. Now let's pause. Has Nigeria's healthcare system suddenly collapsed in the last 2 weeks? No. Have kidnappings only just begun? Far from it. We kind of have been living with that for years now. So what exactly changed? Well, what changed was posture. Nigeria said no. And in the delicate language of global diplomacy, saying no to the U.S. without flattery is often mistaken for aggression, especially if, you're African. Now, if you're not asking for aid in the same breath, that even makes it more so. Like those 5 other African countries who blindly seem to have forgotten how the Democratic Republic of Congo got to where it is currently. Because here's what we have learned. American diplomacy is not always about friendship. It's about compliance. You can do whatever you want so long as it aligns with their needs. So when a country like Nigeria refuses to play ball, a message has to be sent. And travel advisories may look like safety memos, but they are often pressure tools. What it does is, in effect, it affects your perception. And perception affects capital. Suddenly, your country sounds like a war zone to anyone who's sitting in New York, Brussels, or Dubai. The risk premium goes up, the deals stall, the phones, they stop ringing. No, this isn't just a safety notice. It sounds suspicious, like diplomatic retaliation. But Nigeria's decision is not just about Nigeria, because it's symbolic. If the continent's largest economy begins to fold under pressure, and the rest of Africa is gone, it capitulates. Nigeria's position, therefore, sends a message that the only African diplomacy that works is standing your ground with your backside covered. Because once you say yes to the first thing, the next 10 things are easier to approve. One deportee today, one military base tomorrow, one advisory today, one trade embargo next. And you have to say yes, because if you don't, they'll make you less attractive to your investors. So here we are, on the edge of a quiet war, not with bombs, but with leverage, with advisories, not invasions, with headlines, not handcuffs. And if we, as Nigeria, lose the plot now, Africa loses its protagonist. It means actor don't die. So, let's be clear. This is not paranoia. It's pattern recognition. And before we rush to appease, we must ask, what exactly is the cost of being liked by America? Food for thought. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Breakfast Extra. I'm not alone, of course. As always, every single morning, it's my partner in prime time, Judith TV. Judith, how you doing? Good morning.
I'm doing well. Good morning to you, Mizino. Good morning.
Now, what did you think about the travel advisory from over the week?
It's nothing new. It's always happened. Like, it's recycled at this point. It's just my own is that how do they even see Nigeria? I don't know. In spite of all the efforts we're putting at the battlefront, it's very interesting how the U.S. sees us. But your theory makes a good case, one would say. It does make a good case.
Yes, indeed. Tell you what, I'm going to come over, we'll do the dailies, and maybe we'll talk more about this. Welcome once again, one and all, to Breakfast Extra.